You see, loyalty, integrity, values are a blessing and are a consistency through time because of the personhood behind them. But there is no actual person in what we call a group. It's an entity which has the same name through time, perhaps, although even that can be changed by whatever current influences press upon the group from within or without. Now, I've changed my name several times in my life, and that is very unusual. In a sense, it's indicative of discontinuity from the world's point of view. The name suggests a character. The name change suggests a change of character. But of course, that is what's actually happening in the world all the time, because we are subject to a variety of groups, day in, day out, that press upon us, not even for a consistency of conformity. It depends on the extant mix of groups. And of course, how we understand such and evaluate the consequences of such for ourselves. So all people adapt to the situation they find themselves in, individually, according to what they make of and truly value at heart concerning such pressures bearing on them. So we find there are all sorts of pressures imposing upon us and consequent in our life. Mankind collectively and by default creates this amazing maze of organizational pressures in which he abides. To truly follow God, the personification of what we truly value, is a great determination to separate us from the constraints and the leading of such groups, wherever they do not accord with what we understand to be that implied by what we truly value, and that way ahead accordingly. Of course, groups attempt to control by punishment and reward, carrot and stick. And the godly life relies much upon majorly avoiding such influence upon our own lives and the lives of those we love and care for. But we care for all life in that we would truly rescue it from its dilemma of the culture that it finds itself in. That does not make us an enemy of the culture, because the culture has no personhood and the consequences of its existence and how we relate to it. If the so-and-so group no longer exists as a recognized entity, the last members were 100 years ago, there is no eternal suffering of something called the so-and-so group, of some person called the so-and-so group. It simply does no longer exist. It never did exist as a person. It was simply a construct that had great influence upon the lives of certain people, members, and non-members alike, whose lives were affected by the group, the organization, now extinct. But we are persons, an eternal entity, and therefore eternally relevant. And we are quite simply in training here, experiencing good and evil and learning accordingly, that we might become such as have the values of eternal life, of fullness of life, blessing and goodness, rather than suffering and pain. Do you see an organization does not have suffering and pain or joy? No selfhood, no personhood. Yet it is extremely powerful in influencing what we can and can't do, and how we see ourselves. We have unleashed a Leviathan that quite bewilders most of us and leaves us utterly perplexed as to how to control or what to do about it. It's called our current culture and society. But it's a great learning situation, a great presentment of good and evil, and we have to trust God that it be a blessing to us, for it is what is.